It's Friday.
Hello.
It's Friday again. Happy Friday.
It's a day.
Last week was crazy because of Critique Week, so everything was all out of whack. We were here live every day with our energy dwindling a little bit each day, but we are here and awake, and we've had our coffee, and we're ready to rock and roll. Something to take note of is that today is the very last day of our June charity for Pride Month, which is the Trevor Project. They are an amazing organization that provides chat lines, email lines, phone lines, lines of support to at-risk teens who may not have support at home or who may be contemplating suicide or self-harm. Definitely check out their website if you're interested. Mark and I have decided that whatever the donations end up at tonight, by the end of the stream, we're going to match them up to $2,000. Now, as of right now, I believe that we're at like 1,020. So
we can't see it for whatever reason. The chat's glitched. So you guys will have to let us know.
So your guys' job is to buff up those numbers because it's the very last day. And if you're interested in donating, there is a button down below. So don't let us forget. We need to not forget to donate at the end of the stream.
If we forget, we'll do it next stream. Right. But we'll try our best not to forget.
We've done that.
You know how we are.
We've done that before where we're like, yeah, we'll donate at the end of the stream.
We always keep our word on it, though. It's
right.
Okay.
It's, yeah.
Sometimes we get distracted.
But, guys, happy Friday. Today we're going to be talking about traffic on Etsy leading up to the holiday season. There are a lot of interesting things that have impacted e-commerce this year, and that I speculate we're going to see impact how people shop over the next few months. Couple of quick rules for this stream, though, because my timing could not have been worse to plan a potentially political kind of sounding stream the day after the debates. Here's our rule for the stream as well as the replay. No politics. If you get political, if we hear anybody's names, any president, ex-president names,
yeah, they both. Here's the thing: they both suck. So the conversation's over. That's it. We don't want to hear if you're going for either side and attacking us in the comments because you support either one of those sides. It's all a problem.
Right.
So we don't want to hear it from either side.
Right. It's a moot point because you ain't convincing us of nothing because we're not really.
No.
Anyway, yeah. No politics
Instant
today.
ban.
Right, no politics today, no politics in the replay. We appreciate you guys. We know that you guys come here to learn, to get away from things like politics that flood every social media platform. No one wants to hear it. This is a place where we talk about business. But unfortunately, the thing about politics is they do affect e-commerce, which is something that we all need to have open discussions about.
Yes.
So, again, no matter what side you're on, any political related comments will be deleted. And if we feel that you are being, out of line, you'll be banned from commenting forever.
Yeah,
so
one warning. That's all I'm going to give. One warning.
And
because there will be people who join in later who are going to want to comment on it. I'm just making it known now, one warning, and then it's a permaban.
Right.
No questions asked.
Because it's not an environment for that.
Yes.
We have to stay positive and think about the futures of our businesses. We need to be mature. So with all of those things out of the way, is it quiet for anyone on Etsy right now? And did that extreme stretch? I mean, obviously there's some of you who are like, oh, I've never made sales on Etsy. I'm talking about those of you who expect frequent sales, who have come to expect frequent sales. As of about 4-5 weeks ago, have you noticed things have been a little quiet? Well, we've got some data to show you that things have been very quiet. Mr. Moore, would you like to show them that data right quick?
Not really, no.
Now this is
Sweet said I nominated Mark Stash for president. That's funny. I'm actually thinking about putting myself on the ballot the next time around. I'll be old enough, so I'll see how many of you vote for me.
He wants to do it just to see what happens.
Yeah, I probably will too.
Just to see, just out of curiosity.
If I have at least one person vote for me, I'm made. Somebody wants me.
I mean, Vermin Supreme has been running for how many?
That's who I'm voting for.
Vermin Supreme.
There you guys. If you guys don't know Vermin Supreme, look it up. Okay, here we go. We are screen sharing, I think.
All right.
Here, I can double check. Yes, we are.
Okay. So I'm on erank.com. I'm within the sites tab in the sites info tool. I have entered etsy.com. This graph is very representative of our feelings.
Want to explain what it means?
So, this is Etsy's reach. And if we look here, we're kind of seeing a dip as of, let's see, right about.
This is where the dip starts.
Yeah, but we hit our lowest on the 17th, 16th, 17th, right here. This is crazy.
Yeah, they lost again, explaining what this actually is. This is a percentage of people who are on the internet using Etsy in general. So we went from about 2.65% of users on the internet, of all users on the internet. And these are rough estimates, but close enough, and the trends still follow regardless. So we lost about what, 0.6% of the internet since March 29th.
So a lot of you might be saying, oh crap, it's all the things that Etsy's been doing wrong. But I will give you a little bit of, assurance here. This happens every year. The graph looks about the same every year. The thing that's different is that this is the lowest that I have ever seen Etsy's reach. And I believe that a lot of it is because, we're in a really bad economy right now, for one. For two, Etsy's going through a lot. They've had a bit of bad publicity. And something that we notice every single year and always have is that the week that most schools start to let out, that's why I said, have you guys noticed a drop in sales or traffic 4 or 5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
End of March, beginning of May. That's where it starts to dip, and then it really skyrockets down at the end of May.
Yep, because right when those kids are out of school, that's when we start to see, in the US at least, that's when we start to see all of Etsy, dip. And then, look, we're starting to trend back up again. So this tells me that, yeah, the kids are out of school. Parents just got adjusted right in here. But now we're starting to see that reach kind of increase and tick back up. So,
well, we also have to consider what people are on Etsy for.
Yeah.
What Josh specifically said people are on Etsy for. It's a gifting platform. It is a gifting platform. Nobody has babies in the summer, or at least very few people have babies in the summer. People make babies in the winter and they're born in the fall. That's how it is. That's how it is all over the world for the most part. So we see the biggest portion of traffic just before the fall, when babies are going to be born, when people are going to get married, when people are making babies. That's what Etsy's for.
It's not just babies. It's
But everybody is born. Right. Well, the majority of people are born in the fall and winter. So when it's like gifts for dad, gifts for mom, all these things fall and winter.
Right, because that's all birthdays. That's, and obviously there are summer weddings. There are summer weddings, but fall is when we see a nice uptick for weddings, and spring, and in a lot of areas. There aren't very many gift-giving holidays in the summer. People are also going on vacations and spending time outside, so they're not sitting on their computers shopping. This is why I always talk about making sure that you're marketing on social media right now, because even if those people aren't shopping on Etsy, they are still taking pictures and posting them on Instagram and talking about their vacations.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, opposite in Australia, because you guys are in winter right now, right? Let's see. Emily said tons of babies born in the summer. There's no doubt that there are babies born in the summer. Do we have a...
Well, most babies are born July through October. It's almost like I'm not lying to you.
Mr.
Goodness.
Yeah.
And this is an example of where, like, anecdotal, this affects me, so it must affect everyone, isn't always the case. The majority of babies are born in the fall.
We got to go based on the data. We got to look up the numbers here and be realistic, just because these certain experiences are going to be different than others.
Anyway.
But with that in mind, this is going to be a weird year for several reasons. The main reason being that our whole year kind of started off kind of strange, because normally,
it was kind of weird.
Yeah, April is when people begin thinking about spring, because we normally have Easter in April, right? And then right after Easter, people go into summer mode. Well, that was thrown off immediately this year because Easter was in March this year, right? So April, we started thinking about summer. Have you noticed this year that the seasonal decor for things like fall, and I mean, even Hobby Lobby is starting to get out their Christmas stuff, which they always do, but it's earlier than ever this year. Have you noticed how all the major retailers are putting out their stock earlier than what they did last year? Well, it's because we kind of started out the year already a little bit ahead of schedule with April having Easter. Immediately following Easter, stores begin rolling out their summer items. So in April, people are in summer mode. Now we're in summer and we're noticing that a lot of stores, including Joann's, including At Home, these are all, mostly US stores, which the US, obviously, we decorate a lot more for Halloween. They're all getting out their Halloween stuff. And I keep having sellers ask me, like, when should I launch my Halloween collections? When should I launch my Halloween collections? Right now. Because last year, August, for many different keywords related to Halloween, which I'll actually, this Tuesday, our video is going to be about Halloween trends.
Yeah,
so.
I was literally just about to say that because everybody's talking about how the YouTubers are already talking about Halloween trends. We are too. You just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Tuesday, look out for it.
This Tuesday, it's a good one too because I'm covering some trends that are we'll see. You'll see on Tuesday.
Which means our Friday Bean stream for fall trends will be coming soon.
I checked. I didn't have enough to do a full stream, but this is going to be like an early teaser on Tuesday.
Yeah, I got you.
But there were a lot of keywords last year related to Halloween where they were most searched in August. And then September and October is where it started to dip back down. It's almost July. If most people are searching for Halloween decor items, especially in August, that stuff needs to be listed as soon as possible because we need to think about how people are going to shift their shopping habits this year. And with everything kind of being ahead of schedule, shoppers' expectations are going to be very different. Now, this is where the political stuff kind of comes into play. So again, no politics in the chat, please.
Yeah, this is generalization.
Right. But historically, US elections have a massive impact on worldwide e-commerce. That is something that has happened, every election since we've had internet shopping. It always has an impact on e-commerce. People hold on to their money because they want to see what the outcome is. A lot of people are kind of like holding their breath, waiting to see what the outcome of the election is.
It's a dooming behavior.
Right.
That's just what it is. And it doesn't matter what party wins. The other side always thinks it's the end of the world for the first year afterwards, and then they go back to normal.
Right. So everybody's holding on to their money. Now, we can see shops or stores, big retail stores are preparing for this because they're smart. They're analyzing all the search trends for, years past. And they want to make sure that they're ready and that they're prepared. Because the last election, that was kind of around, we had COVID and that year, it was already, everything was kind of thrown off. This year, obviously, things have kind of settled out with the pandemic. So I really feel like major retailers are expecting shoppers to want to buy early. Now, this leads me to some personal speculations. Completely open to talk about it and, potentially have my mind swayed in the chat. This is how I think that the next few months are going to go. I think, again, purely speculation based on, the data that we do have and past, years and how we know shoppers kind of behave around elections. I personally think that our older shoppers who have lived through many elections and who know that this is not the end of the world because they've already, seen this several times in their lifetime, I think that they're going to shop early. I think that they're going to be the ones.
So too.
And you can kind of see the stores that are appealing to these individuals more, that have, kind of older demographics. I mean, obviously, there's young folks who shop at Joann's and who shop at Hobby Lobby, for example. But we're not the primary demographics who shop there. I think that those who have been through many elections are going to shop early, and a lot of the stores who cater to those older demographics are reflecting that. And they're putting up that inventory quickly. And I think that because, these individuals have been through many elections, they're a little nervous, but they know that no matter what, it's not the end of the world. They still have to buy Christmas gifts for their family. They're going to do it nice and early, so they don't have to worry about it.
I think that's how it's going to go.
The younger generations who have not been able to vote in very many elections because they're younger, and, they feel that this is, this crazy, insane event, they don't have as much experience with elections in the past. I think that younger generations, so those who might be appealing to millennials and younger for your target customers, I think that they're going to shop last minute. I think that they're going to hold on to their money. I think that they're going to be a little bit more strict with their spending. I think that they're going to be a little bit more careful. And I also think that these are the individuals who have, we've grown up with Amazon Prime and fast shipping, and the expectations are, a little bit different because, we've always had faster shipping. Well, not always, but we've gotten very accustomed to faster shipping. And I think that, the younger generation knows that, I can order it later. I can order in late November. I can order in early December and, probably be okay.
Yeah.
I think that the younger generations are the ones who are going to save up a bit of money and then splurge all at once.
I think so too. I think really, if I were to put my 2 cents on it, I think we're lucky that regardless of the election, who you support or whatever, it happens in mid-November. Mm-hmm. So the majority of people who do their Christmas shopping do it prior to November, end of October, early November timeframe. So anybody who's a doomer who doesn't want to spend their money because of the election, regardless of what side you're on, I don't really think we're going to see a lot of that. Now, I do think we're going to have a significant drop in last minute shoppers because, again, the climate surrounding politics, we're not going to talk about specific things, but the climate surrounding politics is very rough. And whoever loses is probably going to be holding back on spending any money. That's the same thing happened last time. And I think because of how intense things are, it's going to be the same way this time. So I don't think that upfront Christmas sales are really going to be affected all that much. I agree with her, age demographics and how they're going to be spending money. I think that's perfect, but I don't think we're going to get a lot of late term shoppers this year.
Yeah. I think that shopping this year is going to be very interesting. And I think that no matter what, we should all prepare for both situations. I think that all Etsy sellers should be preparing for the early shoppers. I think that making sure that Halloween is listed ASAP, that you're working on, holiday collections, that you're working on holiday advertising, that you're, gaming yourself up, that you're prepping your shop, that you're getting things, done that maybe you've been neglecting, maybe you haven't had time to get listing videos up. Maybe you've been thinking about taking different photos for your listings and you've kind of been holding off. Maybe you've got some listings that only have 1 or 2 photos and you've been planning to get some more photos in there. These are the things that during this nice, slow summer period where we have that big lull in Etsy traffic, I think that this is a really great time to really, seize the opportunity, use this slow period to game yourself up and prepare. Because come holiday time, we don't know what to expect. And if we have early shoppers who are going to be shopping, we'll say July, August, September, we'll already be ready for them. And in the event that people hold off and wait and, we potentially have last minute shoppers, those who are, holding their breath, waiting for after the election to do their shopping, we'll already be ready for them too. We will have already prepared early. For those of you who are in Handmade Alpha Academy, for those of you who are planning on taking the boot camp, which Handmade Alpha Academy students, you guys get it for free. The holiday boot camp, that's kind of what we do in the holiday boot camp. We prepare your marketing for that, big Cyber Week shopping rush. This year, I'm not quite sure what Cyber Week is going to look like. Thankfully, it's way after the election. So I kind of have this expectation that Cyber Week this year is going to be we're going to see even more traffic than we did last year. Because last year, I don't know about you guys, Cyber Week kind of sucked last year.
It was very dull.
Yeah, and a lot of people did good. And I'm sure that you guys are the ones who, you've got a great foundation. You've probably got email lists or great social media, or you've got some products that are ranking really well in search. Like I'm very grateful that, those of you who did do well were willing to share your stories, because I feel like most of the stories I saw last year were from people who just didn't see the sales that they had come to expect on Cyber Week. This year, I don't want to make any promises because I don't want to give anyone false hope that like Cyber Week is going to be this crazy, game-changing thing. But at the same time, if everyone's holding that collective breath for the elections and, waiting until those are over to spend their money, and we're in a really poor economy, a lot of people don't have a lot of disposable income, and we know that there's a brief window of time when we can buy things for cheaper. We just have to, wait until that Cyber Week to do so. I feel like more people are going to gravitate towards Cyber Week in order to get those deals.
See, the thing's weird when it came to Cyber Week last year, because normally Cyber Week, it's a pretty even split. We see it pretty normal, like across the spectrum, everybody did well. But last year wasn't really the case. But the amount of people I saw that made like 5-figure was significantly higher. Like there were fewer people saying they made money, but most of the people that said they made money made like
a lot of money. It
was very strange. And it's even harder to predict, especially with everything Etsy's doing with search. All we have right now is anecdotal evidence of how everything's working, but they're making some swerves on search. So
do we know when Cyber Week will be? It is the week of Thanksgiving. It is right the day after Thanksgiving in the U.S. I don't know what day it will fall on this year. Somebody Google it. What day does Black Friday? So you've got Black Friday, which most cyber sales start either the beginning of the week, or they will start on Thanksgiving and then extend to the week after. There are a lot of brands that are almost like getting rid of the excitement of Cyber Week because they start their sales like at the beginning of November, which we might see more of that as well. We might see, because e-commerce is holding that collective breath, maybe we'll see more of those early Cyber Week deals. But typically you see the best deals on Black Friday, Small Business Saturday. That's great for us. There's not a lot of businesses who get to do a whole lot of promoting for Small Business Saturday. I'm sure that you guys have probably seen all like the Shop Local campaigns.
Cyber Monday is December 1st. Yeah, that is going to be a weird one, because for a lot of people, that's their cutoff date, especially for those of you like in Europe selling to the US. That's cutting it real close.
Ooh, yeah. So I dare say that if you're nervous about, man, that throws everything off. Everything's crazy this year. If you don't feel like you can ship past, December 1st, because obviously mail is slower around the holiday season, you got to give yourself leeway. Plus, don't spend your whole holiday season like stressing about whether your packages are going to arrive. Like, make sure that you're giving yourself time so you can enjoy your holiday with your family. But if you don't think that you can do it for Cyber Monday, you could just do Black Friday if you wanted to host a sale, or, just do Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. Or you don't have to do a sale at all if you don't
No,
want
you
to.
don't. And we will talk more about like shipping dates and stuff when it gets closer to the end of the year, especially since we can't really predict what it's going to look like. Weather plays a huge factor into that, and we won't know kind of what the winter weather looks like until like end of October, beginning of November.
Nancy said 12/1 is a Sunday.
Is it?
Let me pull it up.
Boop, 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 boop.
Man, let's see.
Yeah,
It
so
is
that's the second. The second is even worse. Yeah, because Cyber Monday or Black Friday will be the 29th.
Yeah, Black Friday will be the 29th. Small Business Saturday will be the 30th. And then Cyber Monday will be the 2nd. Man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But what I think that we need to start focusing on, and what a lot of my videos on my channel starting in July are going to focus on, is how we can prepare and plan. And we see this every year. I tend to make a couple posts about it in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community. We notice the sellers that do the very best for, Black Friday, Cyber Week, whatever. They do the very best when they have planned during the summer. That means making sure that you've got your listings prepped, obviously, and your items listed early, but also really buckling down on those social media strategies, because if there are less people shopping on Etsy right now, it doesn't matter how good your SEO is, how much money you're putting into your ads. If they're not there, if they're not on social media, on Etsy, then you can't take people that aren't there to begin with and drive them to your shop. Whereas if they're on social media, if they're on Instagram sharing photos of their summer vacation and all the fun things that they're doing, then obviously you can direct those individuals to your shop. Is there someone at the door?
Oh, it's our Holland guy.
Oh,
You
okay.
can just ignore me when I get on my phone. It's never anything to do with what you got to do.
I always get scared that we've got a package sitting out there.
No, it's almost always somebody just being goofy.
Okay.
I'm actually glad you asked this, Carlos Sue. I never do sales. Why would I want to work harder for less when it's busiest time? Because selling isn't necessarily just always about making money. It is about longevity and growth. Without growth, you cannot have longevity. Without longevity, you don't make money long term. It's about building more customers. It's about getting people into your shop so they can get your product that maybe they've been eyeballing and have been waiting for a sale. And now they get your product. They love it. They love the experience of buying it. They love the stuff you've packaged it with. And then maybe they buy 5 or 10 more things that aren't on sale and you've made more money. It's not just about making money right now, which is a huge problem with Etsy to begin with. It's mostly people who are I want money right now, that don't understand when it comes to business, making money right now isn't always the best thing for your business. Growth for the sake of longevity is the best thing for your business.
Right.
And even the 80-20 rule, 80% of your sales should come from 20% of your customers. And the literal CEO of Etsy reaffirmed that in one of his last presentations, where he was saying that their goal is to get more buyers, because the majority of people who shop on Etsy shop once a year. However, the majority of people who shop more than once a year shop 5 times a year. That means that those people that shop 5 times a year, regardless, are significantly more valuable to you as customers than somebody who shops once a year. And if you can grab as many customers as you can, even at the expense of extra profits, and of course, some shops can't do this, but if you can grab more customers, then you can extend the lifespan of your business and potentially give yourself the boost that you need to get through the hump after Christmas. Post-Christmas sucks, and then you get like a couple months of selling with like Valentine's Day and the early like spring holidays, and then summer sucks. So your job as a business owner is to make sure that you can hold out through those, we call them famine periods, where there's nothing coming in and there's no money. So if
We're in one right now.
Right. If you can make 5 sales at a 10% discount versus 1 sale at no discount, you've made more money and you've got more customers, if that makes sense. And we understand not all shops can do sales like that, right? Like if you're selling $5,000 handmade resin and wood tables, you can't afford a 20% discount on your table. That's like your cost of labor and everything like that. But most of you that are selling, like I saw somebody earlier talking about selling a $5 sticker, your stickers do not cost you $5 to make. And if they do, you really need to work on like bringing the cost of production down. you can afford a 15% sale on a $5 sticker. It's a hit for sure. Losing money sucks, but gaining customers doesn't.
Well, the thing that we always talk about, and especially for our Handmade Alpha Academy students, is, you need to be pricing at the top of your industry. And if you can't afford occasional sales and discounts, you might be in an industry, like he said, where your products are very unique and people are just conditioned to pay more, which is great. And it's great if you're in those industries. But if it's a common product where most of your competitors are able to occasionally offer sales and discounts and you are not, that means that you should probably price a little bit higher, because if you don't have that tiny little bit of wiggle room for flexibility, it likely means that every single penny that you make on every sale is what you have to have. That's like your bottom line. And that to me sounds like you're pricing more towards the bottom, right? You're pricing more towards the bottom of the barrel rather than the top of your industry. And again, you don't have to host sales to be successful. You absolutely don't. I mean, there's plenty of sellers who do phenomenally well, even on Cyber Week, when they don't host sales and discounts. But like Mark said, when you're building a brand, not just, your singular business that exists on Etsy, but when you're building a brand with longevity and you're trying to appeal to repeat buyers and you're trying to keep your brand top of mind for shoppers so that they are more impulse to come back to buy again and again, offering discounts to those individuals, for one, makes them feel valued, especially if you offer sales that are advertised in different places. So maybe your shop on Etsy doesn't have a public sale. Maybe you send out a coupon code that is exclusively for your email list. Or maybe you post something on social media where it's a coupon that only your social media followers get to see. And you let them know this is our secret sale, our secret discount. Only those on Instagram get to know about our secret sale. It makes them feel valued. It makes them feel like they're in the know. You also get that benefit on Etsy of sacrificing a couple dollars for, obviously, if you're cutting your costs a little bit, you're sacrificing a little bit of that money, but you're also helping to grow your listings a little bit more, because every sale and every positive review contributes to your overall listing quality scores. Listing quality scores are one of the primary factors that dictate how your listings rank in search. So as long as you're making a profit, even if it's a little bit less than what you would normally make, assuming that you're pricing, within that top 10% of your industry, and you've priced to accommodate small sales and discounts, every single sale that you make helps that listing to rank higher in search, so that more people, when you're, like he said, when you're in a famine period or during a slow season, you're still ranking very well in search for the keywords that you want to rank for, because you have given that listing a lot of juice during the holiday season because it's had so many sales. Right now, a perfect example of that is in our newer Etsy shop, Books and Cold Brews. Last year, we had a listing for an ornament that took off for the holiday season.
Still to this day, your best-selling item.
Yeah, it took off for the holiday season. It did phenomenally well. And it made a ton of sales. And then obviously after the holidays, things slowed down, because who the heck wants a Christmas ornament, in April? Sales for that specific item slowed down. Now, I mean, it's good and early, right? But now people are kind of starting to look at ornaments. We're starting to see, those initial searches over at eRank for holiday ornaments. And I'm noticing a lot of favorites coming in for this ornament that had previously, been an item that stalled out for the beginning of the year. And already that is the item that it has to be ranking decently in search still, even though it was only selling for that, for the holiday season. It maintained that listing quality score. And now that people are beginning to become interested in ornaments again, that's the listing that's starting to get a little bit more attention. And I anticipate that it's probably going to become our best seller again this year. Haven't changed the keywords, haven't changed the photos. I know that is a seasonal item that is specifically going to do well during specific seasons. And because people are starting to become interested in holiday products, that listing is starting to gain traction again. So having those sales, and I should have mentioned that we did have it on sale during Cyber Week. That was part of what I was, working up to, is that little bit of traction that we gained from hosting a sale, and it sold way before we hosted the sale. Obviously, it sold during the sale. It continued selling. In fact, I dare say it sold better after the sale, because those sales that we made during that discounted period helped to boost that listing in search so much that when our sale ended, it stayed up in that high position where we made more full price sales. And now, hopefully in that build up to the holiday season again, we see something similar where if I discount this listing for 3 days, we'll say, for Cyber Week, if we discount it for 3 days, to me, personally, it's worth it. Because leading up to that, there's going to obviously be people who buy it, the early shoppers who are paying full price. Then we're going to get that nice accelerated boost on those 3 days that it's discounted, assuming a lot more people buy it. And then that listing's going to stay in that high ranking position due to those sales and positive reviews, so that hopefully it continues to sell up until our holiday shipping cutoff date, like it did last year. Then, after the holidays, I'm sure it'll dip back down, and we'll repeat the cycle next year as well. So I hope that makes sense. And I don't want anyone to feel like they have to host sales, but you should at least understand how hosting occasional sales and discounts, even if your items sell well without hosting sales and discounts, sometimes it's about love for your customers. Sometimes it's about treating them to something, nice so that you retain them. Sometimes it's about helping listings to do well so that they skyrocket in search because you're building that listing quality score from those sales. There's a lot of different benefits to hosting those sales and discounts.
I know HA, we don't need much, but I thought we got access to the separate photography stuff. Yeah, that's if you're in HA, just go to the bonus vault at the bottom.
All of your extra stuff is in the bonus vault. Anything, any extra bonuses, and just email me if you're ever like, hey, you said that we got this with HAA. Just drop me an email. You have my private email address that I can't say here because everyone would bother me. But email me and ask where it's at, and I'll let you know.
You're on that hot girl energy today. You know that?
Yeah, I'm fired. I'm fired up.
Fired up.
I'm fired up. I'm fired.
When should we start the Christmas marketing boot camp?
So you're looking at the 2023 version. You can start that whenever you'd like. If you're a Handmade Alpha Academy student, you maintain perpetual access to all of them. You also have access to the 2022 one. If you go, to the bottom of the 2023 one, the 2022 one is linked as well.
I'll probably keep 3 to 5 years of those backlogged.
Right. Those are last year's though. The one for this upcoming year, we're trying to plan it for first or second week of September. So we'll have news on that. But HAA students, you'll get it regardless. We'll have more details about, because we're still planning it. Right now I'm working with speakers to decide who's going to be our guests this year.
We make and sell furniture on Etsy, and we average $450 per sale. How do we get repeat customers when they can only buy a desk, table, shelves once? The rules, of course, like everything, aren't going to apply to everyone. You can still get return customers, people who buy, let's say, a table. Maybe they want to buy a side table, or they want to buy I don't know specifically what you sell, a kitchen table, or they want to, there's lots of ways, any other way that a seller gets a repeat customer is going to apply to you. You're likely just going to have a smaller ratio because the cost of your products is so significantly higher. But I mean, you have, I guess, equal chance.
Well, no, I dare say, and those in the chat, let me know if you agree. If I were to buy an expensive piece of furniture from an Etsy seller that I was very pleased with the furniture, especially now since most furniture is like, IKEA stuff that falls apart in a couple of years. It's not necessarily the highest quality. It's kind of what you fill your first apartment with, or, a space of your home where you don't want to put a bunch of like fancy furniture, like your office. If I'm investing a bunch of money in an expensive, beautiful piece of handmade furniture, I dare say that I would be more willing to go back to that shop to buy other pieces of expensive furniture because I've already got that good experience and I've gained trust in them. Especially if, I start out with a coffee table, for example. Well, maybe I start out with that coffee table and I have such a fantastic experience that a few years later I start looking at my IKEA end tables and I'm like, you know what? These kind of suck. I want to upgrade these. I want to splurge. oh, I bought my coffee table from this store. I wonder if they have any end tables that will match my coffee table,
Yeah.
for example.
Could be a slower burn.
Yeah, I dare say that you actually have a great advantage there, and I would just make sure that you're giving them some resources, maybe maybe some printouts, maybe, you know, some inserts into your packages that might encourage them to come back. And if you can offer some type of small sale or discount on their next purchase to encourage that repeat buy, maybe that would help them to come back and buy those end tables, for example, when they've already purchased the coffee table. And it might make them consider your brand above others that they're looking at. So let's see, does anybody in the, yeah, it looks like quite a few people kind of feel like they agree. So yeah, and I love this. For really nice pieces and a good experience, a lot of people will also mention the store to friends who ask about it. Exactly. People who are entertaining guests, they might talk about it. You know, you could even put in a couple extra business cards. That way they might be inclined to give one to a relative. Let's see. Brenda had said, I've been using this summer to revamp my SEO and product photos. The products have updated. I've started to see an uptick in favorites. That's absolutely awesome, especially since Etsy is really talking about, and Josh Silverman is really talking about how they want to highlight unique and quality items. And, you know, photos are really going to play into that. SEO is going to play into that. So make sure that you're spending time during your slow periods improving on those things, especially when it comes to listings in your shop that just aren't selling at all. You can't you can't break what's already broken. So if you're not seeing any traffic on these listings, then it might be worth going through and sprucing them up a little bit. Let's see. What about making laptop holders that go on top of the desk or organizers? That's awesome. Yeah, to stack with the handmade furniture. Let's see. I hate when Mark's not here because I struggle to keep up with the comments. Etsy quiet now. Etsy's very quiet. Is it too early to put Christmas product on Etsy now, or should I add some more? No, it's not too early. If you don't feel comfortable marketing them yet, because believe it or not, people are already searching for Christmas products on Etsy. I at the end of this month, so starting like around the 1st of July over at eRank, we'll have our we will have our June data. I dare say that just like in previous years, you start to see those initial upticks in those holiday shoppers in June. I don't know who these people are or how they're so motivated, but there are people out there who are shopping for Christmas right now.
Y'all are crazy.
I wish I was that motivated. I'm telling you what.
Ooh, excuse me.
Here's the problem with me. Most of the gifts I buy are for my daughter, and by Christmas, she'll be interested in something else.
A lot of people asking where you got that brown shirt.
I don't even remember.
Did I get this one for you?
No, I think I got it at Buckle. I've had it forever.
Hard to tell.
What do you think of abandoned cart coupons? Hey, I mean,
do it.
There's no downside. Always ask yourself when it's like, what do you think about this? You know, what should I be doing this? Especially when it comes to Etsy features that they push on us. Ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario of setting up an abandoned cart coupon. I mean, the worst case scenario is that nobody uses it, but did it waste much of your time, and is it harming you to have it in there? Not at all. So if there's no real worst case scenario, then go for it.
Consider offering smaller items that go with your furniture, coasters, wooden art pieces, etc. Do you have
maybe
display pieces for your furniture? Smaller items? I don't see any problem with just specializing in furniture as long as you know how to advertise it.
We have some lovely ones who return, but I always found it impossible to think we could get 80% of our sales from 20% of our customers. So you think having a smaller ratio is okay?
Of course, that's just something to aim for. You have no control over it. And obviously that's just a generalization. Everything from, like we just saw, somebody who sells $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 tables, you know.
That's the same person.
Yeah, versus someone who sells, I don't know, stickers.
Yeah.
Like your ratio is going to be significantly different. Don't take things with a grain of salt when it comes to numbers like that. Obviously, there's no exact science to this. That's just the best ratio you could hope for.
Right. It's what marketing experts talk about. However, John, it might be something to set as a goal. It could be a goal that you always keep in mind, and you ask yourself when you're strategizing for your brand, how can I start working up to that ratio? Maybe you, like I said, you start putting some inserts with your packages, or
I 100% on that, and more than one business card, because like Best School Bindery here said, for really nice pieces and a good experience, a lot of people will ask their friends about it. And if you give them a couple extra business cards, who knows, maybe one person will hand one off, that person gets a couple when they order, and then you just create a chain. I mean, you never know.
And business cards, there's another little strategy in there. Business cards that are worth keeping. That's always something that I talk to people about. Magnet business cards, those are great. Obviously, they cost a little bit more. You don't have to fill your packages with them or provide more than one. But if it's stuck to their fridge, someone comes in their house and says, wow, I love your coffee table. Where did you get it? You're like, I can't remember the shop name. Hold on. It's on my fridge. There are ways, especially since you're higher end, it's almost worth giving a higher end business card because your products are higher end, just like when you buy high end chocolate, for example. We love Vasquez chocolate. It's very expensive.
I love it.
The packaging and the experience and the inserts, they give you like a guide on how to eat it.
I don't read that. It's foo-foo.
Well, yeah, but
it's chocolate.
It definitely contributes to the perception of quality. Yeah. And when you add in high quality inserts with high quality items, it increases the perceived value of those items. Packaging is so important, and good packaging is so important for those higher end products because they help to support the price and justify it. When in reality, you're probably not paying a whole lot more to, package your products in that way. Now, obviously with furniture, it's not like you can add crazy bows and fancy tissue paper, but, going a little bit above and beyond with those inserts that you add in your packages might be a good investment for you that could help you to encourage more of those repeat buyers.
Could you repeat the chocolate brand name? Vasquez.
Yes.
And do you know how to spell it?
Vosges.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
It's chocolate. It's really expensive, but it's good.
Oh, it's so good.
It's not like eat large quantities. It's like one little piece. Yeah, one little truffle with like a bunch of weird ingredients and maybe like a little gold flake on top. It's fancy chocolate. It's meant for like corporate gifts and things like that.
If you guys get Vasquez, I highly recommend getting the chocolate covered marshmallows. They're a little cheaper, very, very tasty. And any of their truffle boxes, which is their more expensive, get one of the smaller ones. They run about $30.
The bars are my favorite.
The bars are good as well, but the small truffle boxes, they're like $30-ish, and you only get like 5 or 6 truffles. But they're great for like a date night. The banana chocolate bars, I think, are my favorite. Yeah, those are very good.
Those are very good. If you strictly sell digital download, this one we might not be able to answer. Can I send a separate PDF with the download that promotes my email list, or is that good? That's very weird. We don't know.
It doesn't go against Etsy's terms of service. There's nothing, honestly, I don't see it being much different than providing an insert in a physical product package with the invite.
When it comes to digital, I don't know how digital downloads work specifically on Etsy. Are they given a link to download, or are you emailing them something?
No, they're given a link to to access their download. You just go in and after
you can package multiple separate things within that download? Or is it just the thing that they've downloaded? Because if you're asking to like...
It depends on what type of... If it's like a PDF, you just make the last page of the PDF
right.
Invite.
Of course. I mean, that could work.
Etsy doesn't say anything against it. And Etsy also, if you read their article about email list marketing, they're actually for email list marketing and collecting leads from your customers. So I dare say that it wouldn't be an issue as long as your customers weren't offended. Maybe if you did it and you included like a coupon with it and a thank you...
They said it depends on the size of the download.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Can I clarify, please? Are you saying it might be best to start pricing a little higher? Maybe launching pre-holiday coupons or specials might be best. Would that work for helping to move items? So you should be pricing within the top 10% of your industry, regardless of what you're selling. I do want to make it very clear, however, when it comes to sales, it is illegal, not just not okay, illegal to raise your prices for the sake of putting them on sale.
Yeah.
It is a crime. So don't do that. I know you weren't suggesting that. I just know some people
might misunderstand.
Yeah, they might misunderstand that. But if you want to grab the rest of the question, you're welcome to.
Yeah. Like Mark said, just be careful and make sure that if you're planning to, this should be an overall strategy. If you already feel like your prices are too low and you're planning to make a permanent shift in your pricing to accommodate future sales and discounts, not just, doing it for a minute so that you can accommodate them, because obviously that's not good practice and it's not legal. But if you were planning a permanent increase in sales and you were planning to do so early, like right now, that way down the line, there's a bit of time in between you doing that and your big holiday Cyber Week sale. Because obviously it's also not good practice to increase those prices like the week before Cyber Week. Because even if
perception is everything.
Right. Even if it's a permanent change, waiting until the last minute, if you've got any customers who are watching your store or who have favorited your items or have things in their cart, that would really, really upset me as a customer. Even if it was a plan to make a permanent switch, I would perceive it as you being deceptive with your pricing. But if you were making that permanent change now, you've got several months of buffer before Cyber Week. I dare say that now would be the best time to make a permanent pivot in your pricing, because like I said, that nice big buffer there would keep people from thinking that you did it just so that you could run a sale.
I sell printable planners and journals, but would like to add physical planning products. Should I add them to my existing printable shop or open a new shop for the physical products?
Well, those are all the same niche. There's no reason to open a new shop.
Unless you want to for the sake of organization, but I don't really see the point.
No, I
see how it affects it. If you have a negative reception to adding the physical products in with the digital, just make it very clear that the digital stuff are downloads and that the physical products are physical products and not downloads. You just need to make sure that like people understand what they're buying.
Yeah.
People can be stinky. I agree that setting sales, bringing more customers for the future, but even making a 50% off on a $20 stone, the view from the Etsy is still zero. It's very slow. You shouldn't be doing 50% off sales unless you're doing closeout. 50 is pretty high.
Yeah. Typically, items under $100, you want to 15% is what marketing experts say is when people like start paying attention. I dare say that on the low end, 15 to 20%, because if you go below 15% and your items are less than $100, I don't know about you, but I don't give a crap about 10% off sales or 5% off. Like that
kind of offensive.
That doesn't lead me to want to buy.
I'm personally okay with 10%. I think 10% is fair. It usually covers the tax in most places, plus a couple extra bucks, potentially the shipping.
Right. Marketing experts say anything below 15. Now, if your items are higher than $100, you have a little bit more flexibility, because then, 10%, that's a decent chunk that people might consider. 15%, even better. So just, it really depends on how much your items cost.
Yes. The higher the better, but unless you're doing a closeout, I personally feel 50%'s a bit extreme.
Yeah, that's
unless you want to do like a legitimate, like give back to your customers, like, oh, I got married, 15 or 50% off for one day. Like, that could be cool. Like, don't just make that your norm. That should be like a celebratory
a treat,
a very special, very exclusive treat for like an email list. No question there. Okay. There's no downside to the hooks to bring people back. Abandoned cart, favorite item, coupons, turned all those on. Yep, I agree.
Exactly. That works.
Gilligan said, I think 5% is a slap in the face. What did that restaurant offer? Was it like 2% for the military? Somebody offered me like a 2% military discount on a meal, and I was like, you just keep it.
Yeah, not even worth it.
I'm good. You can keep that 50 cents, bud. Brownie flavored card as it is then. Exactly.
Yummy.
We already did that. Somebody said that it's a Chicago brand, I believe, that they have a local store for Vazquez.
They're a German brand, I believe, but
they ship from the U.S.
Yeah, because it's like an overnight shipping thing. And you can schedule the date that you want it to arrive too. So if you're giving a gift, I tell you what, There is nobody in my family that would be disappointed to get Vasquez. That is a great gift if you want to spend, especially for like that person that's really hard to buy for and they don't like anything. Like, does anybody have like that grandpa figure who
just make sure they like chocolate,
right? Who doesn't really do a whole lot. He just kind of sits and watches TV. Like I definitely had family members like that. And if Vasquez would have been around at the time, I definitely would have sent them that because it's so good.
I've heard that you say that one-of-a-kind sellers rely on off-site ads. Would you say more about that?
I've never said that. I think you might have misunderstood.
It's
one-of-a-kind sellers need to advertise themselves.
That.
So here's the downside to one-of-a-kind. Etsy awards listings higher listing quality scores when that item can be sold perpetually, when it can make multiple sales, get lots of good reviews, because Etsy knows that this product is tested and true. People love it. You know, why would Etsy not recommend this item to lots of people when they know that people who have bought it in the past have had a great experience with it and that they really like it? Etsy's more likely to recommend these items in search. One-of-a-kind people, you guys don't have that. You're not able to do that. And Etsy doesn't want you to recycle a listing where you say you sell a blue necklace and it sells, so you swap out all the photos and keywords and upload, I don't know, a purse. Etsy doesn't want us to do that because if someone favorited a blue necklace and they look in their favorites, well, there's a purse now. So for one-of-a-kind sellers, I mean, offsite ads could be an option. But when I say advertising, I mean things like building a social media presence, making yourself a TikTok, showing you creating those beautiful one-of-a-kind pieces, having an Instagram where you're showing all these wonderful photos of your beautiful one-of-a-kind pieces, and really representing yourself as an artist. I also recommend that one-of-a-kind sellers make a couple items that are repeatable. If you make beautiful one-of-a-kind pendants that take you hours to make and you charge very, very high for them, go get some beads that you can buy over and over again from a wholesale site and make some beautiful bracelets that match those pendants, and then list the bracelets separately because those listings can sell over and over. They'll rank high in search. And then when someone decides, oh, I like this bracelet, I wonder if this seller has anything else I might like. Maybe they're more inclined to go to the shop and see what other things that you have, and then they'll find things like your one-of-a-kind pendants. So that's kind of a way that one-of-a-kind sellers can navigate around that.
I turned on my ads and views and sales tanked. Should I change the ad campaign? I changed it from more sales to the more competitive reach.
I mean, it's really up to you. Here's the thing. This is a bad time to advertise. If you look up, you know, ad spend tips for summer, most websites are going to tell you that this is like a really bad time to put money towards ads because not very many people are shopping. And we just saw that Etsy's reach is very low. So you're not reaching many people with your ads. And obviously, you know, you don't want to waste money. Ads perform differently for everybody because there are a lot of factors that contribute to ads. Ads have their own algorithm. You still have to have good SEO because, you know, Etsy has to connect your listing to a keyword query from a customer for you to even see, you know, any results from your ads. And you still have to have great photos. If you've got a, you know, listing for a polished turd, I always use the poop reference. If you have a listing for a polished turd, doesn't matter if you've put millions of dollars in advertising in it and it's ranking at the top of all search pages. Shoppers are going to look at it and say, I'm not clicking on that. I don't want that, you know? And I'm not saying that your listings are turds, but what I am saying is that people might perceive your listings as not being as great if you don't have those awesome photos. So photos are really important. Listings are not a Band-Aid. I'm sorry, ads are not a Band-Aid to help listings that aren't doing well. Again, you guys know my feeling about ads is that you should be putting your advertising money behind listings that already are known to perform well because, you know, that's just backing up what you already know. People love this item. People are willing to buy it. People are willing to hopefully give it positive reviews. I want to show this listing that I know works to as many people as possible. Let's put ad money behind it. But if you ever hit a point where you're losing money on ads, definitely don't be afraid to pull back.
Is it too early to start selling fall items?
No.
No, right now is when you should probably be listing them.
No, I've said it multiple times today. I'm assuming you just popped in. But no, get that stuff listed now. People are searching for it right now. It's already being searched for. Last year, August was when we saw the most searches for many Halloween related keywords, not September. And by October, it was already, down. This Tuesday, my video will be about Halloween trends. So we'll have a lot of data to go along with that.
Question. I don't think we can answer this one. I don't know. I assume Etsy's AI is taking down AI mockups. Again, the only evidence we have for that is anecdotal. We just have a lot of anecdotal evidence for that. Does this only apply to the main image, or they can detect it in the secondary images? We have no idea because we don't know if they're actually doing it.
Yeah.
We believe they are. We have evidence of our own and evidence from Printify and a couple of other places that kind of seem to suggest that if you're not using mockups provided by your print provider in some capacity, that they're taking them down. We have no exact word from Etsy that that's happening. So on terms of liability, we can't really answer that question. We don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know how much weight they're putting on secondary images. I dare say, that if it were me and I'm, if I was selling my POD item, which I am POD, and I needed to rely on a mock-up, I would utilize the one from my print provider, but I would subtract the background in Canva and modify it so that it fit my brand, which is what I already do. And I have a Friday Bean from several months ago where I teach you guys how to do it. If I'm selling, for example, this tumbler, typically what I'll do is attempt to get samples of the items that I'm selling, but we'll say that in this case, I don't have a sample. And this tumbler on my Printify Printify mockup is just a white background. I might subtract that background, add in a desk, and then add in a background that fits my niche. I'd add in, for example, we're a bookish niche. We're officially licensed by authors to create merchandise. I might make sure that the background fits a scene from the book that I've created a product for. Or maybe I put in like a bookshelf in the background, which I've done for some products. That way I'm still utilizing that mock-up from the print provider, but it also ensures that my image does not match anybody else's because I've created the mock-up myself. Here's the main thing to remember when it comes to the video that I published on Tuesday about mock-ups. It's not so much that you're using a mock-up from someone other than your print provider that I think is the issue. I think that the issue comes when Etsy identifies a photo for all of its parts rather than the design, we'll say, focused on a t-shirt. Say that your mock-up is white woman smiling, staring off to the side, sitting on her bed with a cup of coffee in her hand, and there's a plant in the background, and what you're selling is a shirt that says, I love coffee. Okay, if someone else has that same mock-up that they've purchased, except the only difference is that woman is wearing a shirt that says, I love my cat, Etsy is looking at the whole photo, not just that tiny little design on a shirt. They're looking at everything in that image. And what's likely happening, since it's all AI, I have a feeling that Etsy thinks that it's the same item being listed in lots of different shops, and that it's not actually, that they're thinking that it's multiple shops selling the same thing and using the same photo, because they're not identifying that small variant just being a design on a shirt. For digital sellers, I'm assuming that you guys are creating most of your own mock-ups, so that's probably not going to be an issue for you guys. When it comes to the POD sellers, I would just be very, very careful. And by creating your own mock-ups with the images that come from your provider, customizing your backgrounds in Canva, making it completely unique to your brand and not something that anybody else is going to be able to use. And I don't mean the mock-ups in Canva. Canva has like their smart mock-ups. That's not what I'm talking about, because those have their own backgrounds and things. I mean completely changing, adding your own little shadows, adding your own tables, adding your own backgrounds. Those photos are going to be completely unique to you. Nobody else is going to have them. And so far, again, anecdotal, so far in the listings that I'm testing within our own shop, where we have customized our mockups in a way that is completely unique to our shop, we've had no issues with any listings being suspended or our account being suspended. So, you know, I'm not saying that that's like a definitive answer, but this is just what we're speculating and why we think so many POD sellers especially are getting suspended for utilizing mockups on, for, you know, platforms like Etsy where they've purchased from other sellers. And that really sucks because we're big on ensuring that, you know, there's an internal ecosystem with Etsy of people buying from other sellers, sellers buying from sellers. And obviously this is just something where a robot is following black and white rules and there's no context there, and the human intervention is just not existent.
They had said, don't get fooled. Vasquez is definitely a Chicago brand.
Is it?
It's marketing that makes you think it was European.
Got it.
I looked it up. It was founded in 1998. It's someone who just has a passion for like French style fine chocolate. So they use weird ingredients like, here's a African fig. We'll throw that in our chocolate. But no, it is still very, very good chocolate.
It's good though.
It is very good. What's your take on pre-made / designed name items? I was thinking of doing a whole line of name items with the names and meanings. I mean, I don't really have an opinion.
What's your take on pre-made design name?
They're going to make items that specifically already have like names and associative meanings behind those names.
I would need to have very specific context there.
But we really can't say because we don't make or are in that industry at all.
Yeah, I need to know what the items are. There's just not enough context.
I haven't added gift mode yet to my shop. What exactly does this mean? And do you think it'll be a good thing for the holidays?
So gift mode isn't something that you add to your shop. Gift mode is it's just a place on Etsy where someone who doesn't know what they want to buy can give a couple details about the recipient that they're buying for. Etsy will kind of lead them down a little path where Etsy will recommend different types of products that might connect with the type of shopper that this, you know, person is buying a gift for. You don't turn on gift mode. It's just a way for shoppers to find items. Etsy says that using the word gift in your listings or putting them in a designated gift section of your shop can help. Honestly, I think it's all fate. Really, because we all know that most gift related, I mean, you could find some really specific ones like gift for social worker, for example. You might be able to make some good connections there, but gift for mom, how many listings on Etsy use the phrase gift for mom? There are so many other competitors who are using that phrase. Obviously, you could try it out. I think that most of us have a couple gift related keywords in our listings. If you've done that, then you're probably already catering for gift mode, but there's not really a whole lot that you can do to make sure that you're included in those gift mode searches other than having niche products that fit with specific demands. But play with gift mode yourself, you know, go through it. Just Google Etsy gift mode. It should pop right up and, you know, make up a pretend family member who you want to buy a gift for and, you know, click around and experiment with it. To me, it's very underwhelming, but I can see for the holidays how it might be interesting for people who don't know what to buy for their recipients. For me personally, if I'm going to Etsy, I already have an idea of what I want. So to me, the actual search bar is my go-to, not gift mode where I'm being taken on Etsy's weird little path.
For a listing that did well around Christmas that I have had deactivated for a while, if I relaunch that listing with updated photos, is there a penalty on the Etsy side? No, there's no penalty.
No, it'll maintain, obviously it's going to not just bump right up, back up because it's deactivated, and the thing that keeps listings and kind of holds their ranking position is activity from, you know, shoppers. So it's kind of been asleep, you know, you've put it to sleep for a little while and now you're waking it up. It's going to take a little while for it to bounce back, but if it sold really well around Christmas time, I would definitely get it reactivated as soon as possible. And, you know, just expect that it might not perform right away, but I wouldn't touch the keywords or anything. And if you've got better photos, sure, go ahead and get those in there. But there's no penalty.
Isn't it also illegal to have something always on sale? I think I remember Hobby Lobby getting sued for that. Yes, it is. You cannot have something always on sale because that implies that the item isn't actually on sale and you're using that to manipulate your customers. I really wish Kohl's would get in trouble for that.
Kohl's is always on sale.
Never been into a Kohl's and seen a single one of the things without that stupid, I think it's digital now, but that stupid
screen.
Little digital display that has a permanent cardboard thing in the top that says sale. They never remove those. Everything is always on sale in that store.
Does anybody else, do your guys' Kohl's, like, we're talking like California and Ohio are Kohl's?
All of them. I made a video. We did it in one of our videos where we recorded in the store.
I don't think, no, we didn't do Kohl's.
I was like, it's on sale. It's on sale. It's on sale.
Maybe
it's
we
on
did.
sale. Everything in Kohl's, from like the fancy stuff to the cheap stuff, is always on sale. And they'll throw in like one rack in the middle that's not on sale, so they're not liable for being. It's
Joanne does this. Well, Joann's, they launch at full price, but they only keep things full price for, does anybody work? I think somebody works at Joann's who was in the chat. They'll keep it on, full price for a little while, but then they make the discount get steeper and steeper and steeper. So technically that's not against the law. They've just launched it at full price for a very limited time. And if you want it badly enough and you're afraid it's going to sell out early, then obviously those people who just want the item and don't care what it costs, they're going to be the first to buy. Then there's going to be the people who hold out for the sales to get steeper and steeper, but with the risk that the item might disappear because it'll sell out and Joann's won't restock it.
Sorry, I had the chat jumped, so now I'm having to find where we were.
Oh, that's okay.
We'll just start here. I don't think I missed any questions. Speaking of pricing, due to Etsy's fees and the different demographic I reach there, can prices be higher than if I was in a pop-up shop?
I mean, my rule is always the same. Pricing in the top 10% of your industry. So it depends on what your target customers look like, what they're willing to buy, and what your competitors are pricing, and not trying to compete with those who are pricing the lowest.
The only difference I would say is that if you, versus like a brick and mortar store versus shipping on Etsy, if you're shipping on Etsy and you're providing free shipping, you can usually cut the cost of shipping into the cost of the product, so it can be a little higher on Etsy. But
can I show them real quick? Can you pull up our Edge tab and then just share your screen? So let me show you. If we go to the keyword tool, what do we want to search for?
It doesn't matter, just whatever.
Search for silver necklace. Or no, that's probably cat shirt. Okay. So let me show you how this whole 10% or the top 10% of your industry works. So we search for cat shirt. This is already like not a good keyword because the searches versus the competition is pretty crazy. Not to mention, look at that low trend. Looks like there are.
Yeah, that trend died out last year.
There's a okay spike for the holidays. It looks like January, for some reason, people were interested in cat shirts, but it's starting to flatten. Anyway, go to the SERP analysis tool. Okay, so we can see that on the high end, about $21 is, the norm for pricing a cat shirt. I would price my shirt around here. I would price my shirt.
I would go higher.
You want to go?
If it were higher, if it were me.
Yeah.
If we look at I'm the data analysis guy.
You are the data analysis.
If we were to look at this, the majority of people are not pricing here. The majority of people are pricing here. I would put my shirt right here. I think most of you would agree. If you look at most POD shirts in the industry, $30 is about the average. $27 to $30 is about what you are aiming for. If it were me, I'd probably be aiming for $27, $28 with the assumption that when you do sales, you're going to be making $21 to $24. Depending on what your actual ratio of profit is, you'll be losing a couple dollars during a sale. So
what are my shirts listed at? I have someone who runs the shop with me, my lovely Michelle. So let's see. Will my listing audit actually show my price for my
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, right here.
Okay. 29.
Yep.
So $27, $29.
Yep. So we are pricing right up there. See, we did the research. I just forgot.
Daddy's right.
Daddy's right. You're not allowed to. Oh, updates. I forgot to mention, guys, make sure that you check my Instagram at Handmade Alphas. Just search for Handmade Alphas on Instagram. You'll find me. Make sure that you read over my updates for the new mature content policies that go into effect on July 29th, I believe it was.
Please keep your opinions to yourselves.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I know that a lot of, there were a lot of different thoughts on these policies, but those selling in the 18 plus category, just make sure that you go through. I did like a slider of the updates for that. You can also just Google Etsy mature policy content or content update to get the full list. But Etsy's basically changing how mature content can be displayed and what mature content can be sold. So
it's actually kind of wild, and I'm not going to share her opinion on it. I think it's ridiculous. However, the reasoning behind it, I kind of understand. If any of you searched in the adult industry, in particular, let's say toys, fun toys that adults play with, 99% of what was on the website is just Chinese garbage that people have drop shipped from eBay. Yeah. And unfortunately, them getting rid of that is going to get rid of probably a pretty measurable percentage of the Chinese garbage that's floating around on Etsy. And while I don't agree with it, I personally think everyone's body is their own body and no one has the right to say otherwise. It's Etsy's choice to do what they want with their platform, and they're cleaning it up. It's also kind of weird just considering what the platform is for, handmade, made with care kind of stuff, and the whole vintage industry exists, which is a completely separate thing from the handmade world entirely and has nothing to do with handmade products, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm more looking at the data where if you go into the monthly trend report over at eRank and you click on the adult category.
Don't say specific words.
I won't. You click on the adult category. The top keyword, you can see the most searched keywords in the adult category.
It was one of those.
No, it's all of those. Most of those items, don't share the screen. Don't.
I can't share the screen.
Don't share the screen. But
trends, monthly trends.
Let's see, just out of curiosity. So the first item, second item, third item, fourth item, fifth item, sixth item.
All of them.
No, none of these you would be able to sell anymore.
Yeah, pretty much nothing in the top on the adult is going to be allowed anymore.
Yeah, most of these.
It's kind of sad. I'm going to be real.
And the top item, the number one item, last month got 13,710 searches.
And regardless of anyone's opinions on this particular category, it's legal. In pretty much everywhere that Etsy sells to, it's legal. And it's not really up to Etsy to mediate this kind of thing. However, again, the majority of that industry, if you've ever searched for any of that stuff, is dropship garbage. Right. Really, it's stuff that you can buy on eBay. So I understand why they're doing it, because I think they saw that they had no other choice, and having to hire a team of people to personally identify which ones are real and which ones aren't. You're hiring a team of people who have to deal with the most the normal all the way up to the most extreme adult topics possible, and that there's like psychological stuff that comes along with that. So I get it. I get it. I really do. I don't agree with it, but I get it. What's the thinking on free shipping over $35 now that shipping is going up again? I was considering raising the amount to $50, then offering a free ship coupon through social or mailing list.
Here's the thing. Everybody's customers are going to respond differently. Some customers, and depending on the pricing of your product, some customers are going to understand that free shipping does not mean that it's free. It means that it is, looped into the cost of the item.
Etsy knows that.
Right. And some customers, they know that they're going to expect to pay shipping on items and they don't really care about it. It's two different types of customers. So especially with shipping costs going up, I mean, really don't do anything that's going to put you in the red or make you uncomfortable. That's always priority. You need to make sure that you're not losing money on anything that you do. The second is that you've got to test things within your own shop to see how your specific customers, depending on, the demographics, whether they're male or female, how old they are, what their shopping habits are, what their expectations are for the price point of your item. Those things are all going to dictate how they perceive those, free shipping versus, paying those shipping prices. So really, I would recommend before the holiday season, test it just to see, especially if you get, traffic right now, or if you are expecting to, have some traffic in the next few months, just kind of based on what you've seen in past years. But I wouldn't execute something like that, like right before the big traffic boom, just because, you never know.
I did want to address this one. Science and Stark made a good point. It's another thing that I didn't really talk about that I think is going to affect people, especially the POD industry. They were talking about shirts having, they had a shirt that says "Mansplain it to me harder, daddy." Using mommy or daddy in what could be perceived as an adult scenario kind of situation in any way, shape, or form is also now not okay. I think there's going to be backlash on this one. They're trying to push it as like incestuous. That's ridiculous. It's definitely a societal thing, and it's a very weird. There's really no way I can approach that without being canceled for what I say. So unfortunately, I disagree with that vehemently. I hope the majority of you do, because even we joke about it. We joke about it like that on stream.
I call you daddy.
It's a very oh man, it feels very much like when the crazy people in the like the church people in Game of Thrones came along and just changed everything. You know what I mean? It feels like, I think there's going to be a lot of backlash. Let's just keep it there. I think it's a very weird decision, and there's going to be a lot of POD people who have stuff taken down. And honestly, I know you were talking about being worried about that. That is the exact kind of language they're talking about not being allowed. You're probably going to need to take that down.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really. I think that it's tied to language that is sexual in nature, and
Yes.
that might be okay. Just make sure that you read the rules and see how it pertains to you. It is very concerning, especially we're in our shop for Halloween, because we're in kind of the romantasy bookish niche. I wanted to do a line about, or a collection launch for stalker romances, because they're really popular right now in our bookish community. And I thought, ooh, Halloween, like rather than the obvious targets like monsters and things, which, monster romance is very popular right now. I said, let's do stalkers, because everybody's going to do monsters, but let's do stalkers because they're scary too. And now I'm like wondering, I need to be really careful about the products that we launch with quotes and things, depending on quotes that are really popular in the books that we're licensed to create products for. For example, for those who know, but Haunting Adeline, I just read the first Haunting Adeline. I haven't read the second one. That was a crazy book, and the author has licensing available for it. And I'm like, I want that licensing. Because there's such great imagery of roses and it's spooky. And there's, like whiskey glasses, all these things kind of tie into this book. There's really great imagery that we could use. But I don't know. It does make me nervous about those of us who use these terms, like I said, societally and culturally in a different way than what people, it's not to be taken literally.
Yes.
When you see a hunky man, you don't say, oh, Jason Momoa's daddy.
Context.
Right.
Context is everything, but unfortunately, regulatory AI bots don't understand context.
That's true.
And we have seen in the past, and currently, right now, the AI isn't taking context into consideration, and I don't think they ever will. So just stay on top of stuff. I think we should hashtag Daddy Josh Silverman.
Emmett Sweet said you, like the show you. Yes, I've actually read the first, and I read the first You book and the second. I tell you what, Joe is not meant to be a swoon character. The show completely misses the point of the books where he's supposed to be terrifying. He's not supposed to be sexy. He's supposed to be horrifying. So definitely read the books,
because getting you started.
It's a completely different thing. It's a completely different context. I'm kind of disappointed that the show took it and romanticized it, because that misses the whole point.
We've already kind of talked about sale percentages, so I'm not going to go over that again.
Oh yeah.
Do you need anything special to buy wholesale, like a business license? It's going to depend on where you are. We can't really answer that question for you.
Yeah. I mean, there are some sites that you can get wholesale where, like, for example, when I did jewelry, I had a couple, and this was several years ago. I don't know what eBay is like now, but I had a few very specific wholesalers on eBay who I bought a lot of my supplies from, and I did get phenomenal discounts from them. I communicated with them directly. Yeah, they happened to be on eBay, but because I had built a relationship with them over the 10 years that I ran my jewelry business, I was able to get some pretty great discounts and things and buy things in bulk there. So I think that it just depends, because wholesale is kind of a language that many listings will say, because you're just buying in bulk. But then there are actual platforms where you're exclusively buying because it's a wholesale platform, like Fair, for example. So I think it really just depends on where you're shopping from.
Maybe I should renew my Hanukkah ornaments. What do you think? So much work to do and I don't know where to start. I don't know. I don't know enough about Jewish culture to know. Like, I know a lot of people celebrate Christmas regardless of religion.
I dare say that you should.
I don't know.
I dare say, Linda, that you should plan just like you would any other time, 4 months ahead of the intended season or earlier if possible. If you're feeling overwhelmed, though, like you don't feel like you're going to be able to get it done and it's just not something that you want to focus on, then you could always work on something else. Remember, it's your business. You get to choose what you want to do, though there may be best practices, for those who want to get ahead on trends and things. It doesn't mean that you have to follow them. There's no rule to when you launch thing. It's just sometimes it's better to launch ahead of the season so that you don't miss the big traffic booms.
What does it mean if eRank's listings change tracker says I've had a few views on a listing this year, but your Etsy stats said I've had none at all?
Well, the data in the listing changes tool comes directly from Etsy's API. So
a lot of numbers are generalizations though, and they're subject to error.
Not the change tracker. I believe that everything in the change tracker is connected directly to Etsy's API.
Okay.
If you're seeing incongruencies, my biggest piece of advice would be to reach out to our support and maybe give a screenshot. That way, if there's something going on that we're unaware of, our dev team can look into it.
Also, hover over the little question marks on there. If it's an average based on whatever, it'll usually say
average.
And if it's something that says that it's an average based on la da 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 data, it's not based on just yours. It's based on what it's seeing from Etsy with a lot of variables that I don't understand the math for. So if you're seeing numbers that aren't congruent and it says they're averages, that's why. If it doesn't say that, then maybe there's an error. There's no harm in reaching out to eRank's customer service. Just do your due diligence first so our customer service doesn't get completely overwhelmed with easily findable information. Mock-up question. Last time you clarified it's for physically utilitarian items like clothing, mugs, etc., but paper goods you believe are still in the clear.
I don't think I said that. I'm pretty sure that I said that digital items likely wouldn't be affected in the same way. But I don't think that I ever specified that this was only affecting things like clothing and mugs. Here's the issue. It's not even so much that it's clothing and mugs. It's that Etsy sees a full photo, everything in the image, everything, every prop, every item, versus, someone else who's using an identical mock-up with all the same items, all the same props, they're seeing two photos that look almost identical aside from, the tiny design, whether that be a painting on a wall or, how things are laying on a desk, depending on the digital item or, in your case, I believe you do. Max, are your items POD or do you offer anything digital? I know that you do the artwork, but I wasn't sure how you actually, provided it to your customers. Oh no, you do POD, don't you? Either way, personally, because we don't have a lot of definitive answer, I have asked Etsy's head of customer support. Oh, believe me, I have asked. He is not responding to that specific question, which tells me that he doesn't know because he's answering other questions, but he would not answer that one. So it sounds like he doesn't know. And it's likely because of the AI identifying similarities in photos of products that look almost identical, when in reality, it's a different item. It's just everything in that image is the same.
Okay.
As with all things, I would recommend, trying to change up and make those mock-ups your own. Thankfully, Canva has all kinds of cool things, assets. You could go into Canva and search for a room or a wall or a living room. Okay, start with that. You can search for a frame. Okay, you can put the frame on the wall yourself. Okay, here's my art. Stick my art in the frame. Okay, there's that. Okay, now I'll look for a cat. Okay, stick the cat on the couch. There are ways to make these mock-ups different and unique so that you are the only person who has that version of the mock-up.
I went ahead and did our donation. I matched the donation for $1,105.
Look at us. How much is it total now? Is it
That would be $2,210.
Okay, well, I just wasn't sure if it actually... Okay.
I know.
I just wanted to make sure before I said anything.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you to everybody who donated this month. I do appreciate you guys so much. We're going to attempt to do Tina's charity. She had requested that we do the Bunny Brigade. And unfortunately, when I checked, they weren't one of YouTube's approved charities. So I put in the submission form. I haven't heard back from YouTube. I'm going to attempt to see if we can get that charity lined up. If not, we'll have a different charity next month, and then we'll still continue to try to get Tina's charity rolling.
Yeah, Johnny, he had commented talking about really the big problem when it comes to the adult Etsy listings really was sellers not marking things correctly. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Just like any other platform, they could have just had a switch in the filters that said not safe for work, or they could have had something in your personal settings that were show or hide not safe for work. Realistically, if you have a credit card, you should be 18 if you're shopping on Etsy. So it shouldn't be a problem for it to show up in chat regardless, or in your feed regardless. However, they could have had a quick filter. And if the quick filter wasn't working because people weren't marking it, they should have just been punishing the sellers who were breaking those rules. Just like they're punishing people for copyright, or well, I guess Etsy's not punishing people, but for everything else that they're punishing people for, they could have done the same thing for breaking the not safe for work policies. It's not like they were difficult to find. They're right there out in the open telling you what you can and can't do. And of course, you know, through a big experimentation that it's not quite like that. They're a little more strict than they actually say. But it's a simple on-off switch, just like every other platform in the world that has a not safe for work on-off switch.
Now, basically, Botanical said, can't say daddy. What about Plant Daddy? You know, honestly, they said with a sexual tie to it, it might be okay, but I'm really concerned with how they're going to enforce it if the AI system is just looking at listings that say daddy. What could happen there, you know?
That we can't predict what they're going to do. It really just depends on... Got an ad right as you started.
Aw.
Watch it again, Johnny. You know how YouTube works. We don't know how their AI, if it's going to be personally regulated. We don't know. We don't know how they're going to handle that. And if they're trying to attack all the things that aren't particularly handmade, again, I would assume that in the pure speculation that vintage would be on the chopping block. It in no way, shape, or form fits into the handmade. It's weird that it's on Etsy to begin with. I don't personally have a problem with it.
I like vintage.
Yeah, I love the vintage stuff. I personally buy vintage stuff on Etsy, but it also doesn't fit into their mission plan in any way, shape, or form. All you go and you source these things, you get it. The only work you're doing is sourcing and listing. So there's zero handmade anything being involved in there. And it's different if it's like handmade glass pieces and like you're keeping that stuff in circulation, but like stuff like Tupperware and cups and things that are just like factory made from 20 plus, like it's a weird situation that we're in where we see things that are clearly handmade, like in the adult industry, versus things that aren't handmade. And I don't know. I'm very confused as to how they're handling things.
You got to think about Etsy, what its original mission was when they first started, versus how people use the platform. And, you know, originally it was handmade and vintage, right? Like it, and at the time it made perfect sense because with our eyeballs, we could see the difference between handmade and vintage. There are a lot of things that have thrown off the dynamic where we can't really figure out what's handmade anymore and what's vintage. And I have to ask you guys when I'm critiquing your shops, like, no offense, you know, to anybody who's POD, I'm POD. But I often go to your listings and I say, this looks like POD. And then you're in the chat saying, no, I actually make these by hand.
Yeah.
Mad respect to you guys who do that. I can understand buyers being a little bit confused about what's handmade, what's vintage, what's POD. And it really seems like this is something that Josh wants to focus on differentiating for customers so that they're able to make more educated decisions as they buy.
They're working on figuring out how to train their AI to detect AI. So we don't even know we don't know. We know what they say they're doing. We don't know what the intent of those actions is. They're training AI to identify the AI. We don't know why. We don't specifically know why. They're training things to identify what's giftable. We don't know why. We don't know why they're doing a lot of the things that they're doing. However, we know very clearly, and I like Josh. I really do. I think the adult thing was a little hard-handed and very fast, and weirdly specific. But I like his mission and at least what he says that he's for, and I think it could do great things. But I wish we could tell you more. I really do. I wish we had more information to provide you with specifics on stuff. And again, the whole vintage thing, that's pure speculation. That's just my opinion. if they're going to remove anything, it should be stuff that's strictly not Handmade. It's very strange. But anyway.
And everybody asking about, do I recommend removing daddy and stuff from the... No, not... Here's the thing. We don't know. We got to wait until...
I can't answer that.
Now, what Etsy said in that update was that they're going to begin communicating with sellers who are affected. So what I hope that they do is that they don't just deactivate items, because obviously that just like the Amber jewelry where, Amber, anybody whose name was Amber was getting items deactivated because the word Amber. We had a sweatshirt in our Alpha Adapt shop get deactivated because Amber Marie's name was one of our tags, because we knew that Alpha is searching for Alpha merch would, it's just stupid.
The system's not perfect.
It was stupid. It was a stupid thing. And I'm really hoping that they learned from that mistake. But until July 29th, we don't know if it's going to be a rollout where the AI just goes crazy and deactivates things, or if Etsy will do what they should do and communicate with those sellers and say, hey, you can't sell this anymore. And then if you have a shirt that says Plant Daddy, you can say, no, Etsy, this is not anything inappropriate. This is a shirt for fathers of plants or fathers of cats or Father's Day. This is not connected to what you're saying it is. But we don't know. So until we know...
Yeah, if you hear half of the POD industry screaming at the end of July when they put this into place and all their shops get shut down for the Yes Daddy shirts that they have, you'll know. Probably shouldn't have daddy in your listings.
Yeah.
We'll find out. I mean, really.
And then, Tina, I saw your comments. I'm definitely going to check. I know you had said that you worked with them, so I'm definitely going to check and see if they're on there.
Yeah, Lady Mansa Black had said, seriously hoping AI learns context. With the way current computing works, it can't. It is incapable of learning context in our current understanding of computing. I don't understand AI down to its roots, but context usually requires situational and environmental societal things, and context here is different than context elsewhere. So that's that it's going to be a while. We're on an exponential curve, so who knows, tomorrow it may prove me wrong and it's able to have a full conversation and share with empathy. It's possible, but as of right now, I don't believe it context is possible, at least not specific context that relates to everyone, because that doesn't even exist in human language.
Elizabeth, on July 29th, Etsy will begin enforcing their new adult content policies for sellers who sell items that are 18 plus related, or they're also talking about products that utilize language that might be perceived as sexual in nature. So just Google Etsy mature content policy update.
Yeah, it's big. As a matter of fact, just go to the Handmade Alpha Facebook community. She made a big post with all of the just screens of the highlights of what you can and can't have. Did you link the actual article in that? Yeah, if you're in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, just go to her posts on there, and it's one of the most recent posts.
Yeah, it's also on my Facebook page, Starla and the Handmade Alphas, and I posted the infograph, the carousel on Instagram. But obviously I couldn't link the article, but you can still go through and see the major updates.
Yeah, I don't like all the I can't. I hate having streams where it's like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. But streams end up being like this because a lot of people do that stuff. And it's important that we push that kind of stuff. In reality, Etsy's very healthy. Traffic is low, but Etsy itself is getting healthier. You were even talking about one of your searches for the ACOTAR stuff.
Yeah. So when I first started, for our books and cold brews, obviously we're officially licensed for A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah Maas. And I was doing some research into the products, that pop up on those search pages for just the blunt term ACOTAR, which is the acronym for A Court of Thorns and Roses. And initially, it was almost the same design on every item that appeared on that first search page. It was, and anybody who searched for ACOTAR, you guys know that very thin line Valaris design with the mountain and, constellations and things, just a very, simple minimalist design, but it was on every shirt, every sweatshirt, every item had this same design, lots of the same mock-ups. I almost got sick of seeing this stupid design because it was on everything. And now when I'm performing searches, and this is just my own, anecdotal experience, but I'm noticing more handmade things, and I'm noticing a diverse, diverse search results of, different things that I've never seen before. And just like a week or two ago, that was not the case. And Josh is talking about how they're updating the algorithm to prioritize items that are unique. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit more next week. But I tell you what, guys, I got to go pee super duper bad.
She does. I know they were starting to discuss AI, handmade, this, that, and the other. Here's the thing. There's no laws on it yet. So our opinions are irrelevant. Wait till the lawmakers decide what they want to do about it. And then that's going to be the word of law, regardless of what anybody's opinions are. Whether or not AI is theft, that's up for debate. And there's a reason there aren't any laws yet, because lawmakers are, for one, they have no idea even how to use computers to begin with, let alone how to regulate something they don't understand. We don't really know if we can justify it as theft or not yet, because realistically, take a picture with a camera, it's doing the same thing AI is doing. It's taking something that it's taking in digitally, it's interpreting it in its way digitally. So if you limit AI's ability to take existing images, is that the same thing as limiting a digital camera from reinterpreting an image that it took in? Because as of right now, it's kind of the same thing.
But it's not that we, and I don't want that to be misconstrued as we say, as us saying, you know.
I don't support it.
But the main thing to remember is that on this channel, if we're speculating or speaking our opinions, we try to state that we are.
Yes.
When it comes to the AI argument, we have to try to remain in the middle, because our opinions don't matter in the large scale of what Etsy sees. Now, the only thing that I will say, and I will leave you guys with this because I got to pee real bad, is that there is a video on YouTube right now that you can look up. Just look up Josh Silverman AI. He just did an interview about how Etsy is going to be using AI in the future for the algorithm. So this is, you know, their Gen AI system and how they plan to adapt it so that they can get ahead of what other marketplaces are doing.
Yes.
Love that part. However, the main part, especially when I hear people in the chat and, you know, in my comments talking about why doesn't Etsy get rid of all the AI generated listings and AI art listings, Josh Silverman stated that he feels that AI is a great tool for people who are not artistic to be able to create something. Those are Josh's words. Feel free if you want to listen to the exact quote, because I'm sure I didn't quote it perfectly, but go watch that video. What that tells us is that Etsy likely will never put any type of restrictions on AI, you know, art product, unless there is a law that requires them to do so.
Or like adult products, if it becomes a problem.
So we'll leave it at that, because again, our opinions on the matter don't matter because they don't impact Etsy. Across
the board, both of us, for the most part, don't support it. I mean, really, I support AI, using it as like a tool like ChatGPT for helping you articulate in ways that you can't, but I don't particularly support AI art. But again, like she said, doesn't really matter what we think. At the end of the day, it's gonna be what the law determines. So we'll wait until they come up with something. Until then, there's nothing we can do about it. There's no point in getting mad about it.
Exactly.
No amount of stress and hurting yourself mentally over all of this is going to make it any better.
Exactly. And yes, Tina said, I fully disagree with him. Creativity can be taught. And that's something Mark and I talked about too, is that no one starts out creative. It takes years of hard work to become creative.
So there's arguments against that too. Maybe I have a disorder that makes my hands shake and I literally cannot do anything with my hands and I have no other way to articulate my art.
Right.
There's, you know what I mean? Like, this is where we're at legally. Anyway, we'll go ahead and end it there, because AI is a rabbit hole and we will just fight ourselves in circles. Enjoy your video games, guys. I know several people say they're going to go play it. Assassin's Creed's wonderful.
Did the new one just come out?
No, they're just saying that they're going to play it.
Oh, I thought that, I was going to say, like,
but the new Elden Ring DLC came out. Go play that. Ghost of Tsushima came out on PC. It's a masterpiece. Go play it. We love you guys. New video on Tuesday talking about the Halloween trends. Oh yeah, the Adobe stuff. Good God.
Crazy.
Get me started on it. Absolutely wild. Next week, same time, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and 5 p.m. UK time in it. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I have become a better person.
Never mind, that was the HAA sales piece, so I didn't change the outro video.
Oh no, what do we do?
Oh no, I think we just end it. We just do what we used to do. We'll just wave for 30 seconds. We'll just wave. I forgot to change it from the HAA video, so